Ugh. I hate budgeting. Who said that? No. This video is about budgeting. I love it. It's awesome. Oof. Goodness. I almost fell out of my chair there. Try that again. So budgeting is something that I think is a lot more important than people give it credit for, and yet it is not as important as some people think. And I'll kind of explain what I mean here. So I think it's really, really important to understand where your money is going, because we are working so hard. A lot of us are working 60 or 80-hour weeks, all for money, to try to, better our life circumstances, understandably. And we're all working really hard for it. But once we have it, we need to make sure that we are managing it well. We need to make sure that we're not wasting it and that we're investing it properly so we can reach early retirement and financial independence, and it's really attainable. And then I think it's also a little bit overhyped, because I don't really agree with having a strict budget and writing down every single thing that you spend. I think it's more of a mindset game, where if you can shift to looking for what is really important to me, whatever is really important to you, if it's your family, if it's your freedom, if it's laying on a beach, whatever happens to be for you, you have to keep that in mind every single day when you look at something. Instead of saying, well, my budget doesn't allow this, say, no, because of me, because I want a better life, because I don't want to have to worry about money ever again, because I don't want to have to stress about money, because I don't want to have to work the best part of every day for the best years of my life for somebody else. That is why I am not going to get this thing and this thing and this thing. And that's why I'm going to try to find ways to optimize and find ways to travel for free, to eat food for half off, to live for free and not have to pay for housing, to drive cars for free, all these different things. I think we can spend a lot more of our time learning about all these things that we are spending our money on, instead of always trying to focus on earning more or tracking every single penny. Now, don't get me wrong, earning more is definitely very important, and most of my videos are talking about earning more, but especially at the beginning, it's a lot easier to spend less than it is to earn more. And also it's more efficient, because a dollar saved is a dollar saved. A dollar earned is like 70 cents earned because of taxes, so yay taxes. Anyways, on with the video. All right, so I broke this down into a few different sections. Part of it is how to actually budget, but then the other parts I think are far more important, understanding your why you're budgeting, and understanding changing your whole mindset, your whole outlook on life to get closer towards financial independence. So I think the first and one of the most important things to do is to have a strong why, and to see the finish line, see the steps to get there, and really have goals that you're working towards. So you might say, I want to reach financial independence in 5 years. And instead of thinking, well, I just can't do that, it's impossible, believing that it's really possible and that you can reach that, and then the steps to get there. Maybe you're saving up for a house hack. Maybe you're trying to get out of debt. Whatever it is, you have to understand the goals to get there. Maybe you have $50,000 in debt. Then you have a goal of saving $50,000, and therefore you need to get your expenses down, say 50%. And in order to get your expenses down 50%, you need to know what your expenses are, right? So that leads into the second thing, which is kind of like a budget, but it's more of like a cash flow chart. So pretty much with a cash flow chart, all you need to do is write all your income on one side, all your expenses on the other. So income might be if you have a side hustle that you're working, or your main job is probably going to be most of it. Maybe you have some stocks that are paying you, or maybe you have rental, whatever you happen to have. Put that all on one side and find out how much is coming in. And then on the other side, break it down, find out all your expenses, look through your history and find out what subscriptions do you have, what's your cable bill, internet bill, insurance, housing payment, car payment. Now once you have them all listed out there, you're gonna find out what is the difference, how much am I able to save if all these are my expenses, and then you will find out where all your money is going. Now, if you want to get to that 50% savings rate because you want to reach financial independence and you found out this is the number I need to get to, you need to look at this and decide what is really, really important. What can I improve on? What can I change about this side? Instead of just saying that this is all fixed stuff, all this whole list is just fixed stuff that I can't change. You need to ask yourself, how can I change this? Can I do without cable? Can I do with a different internet? Can I do with a different cell phone plan? Can I do with a different car or no car at all? Can I move to a smaller place? All these questions you're gonna have to ask yourself and ask, is it worth it? Do I need Hulu, Netflix, HBO, and Amazon? Maybe I can just get by with one of them instead of all of them. You have to ask yourself those questions and try to find out where you can save that much money. Now you have to remember that the reason you are making all these, keep the reason in mind, is that you want to reach financial independence. And maybe that comes down to getting a house hack so you can eliminate your biggest expense, your housing. So pretty much a house hack, or what I did here is I got a 3-unit multifamily. I live in 1 unit, I rent the other ones out, I live for free, mortgage, taxes, and insurance all covered. You can save up for something like that. Depending on what market you're in, you could get in really cheaply. Or you could do something like rent hacking, which is pretty much you get a 3, 4, 5 bedroom place. You live in 1 bedroom, you rent the other ones out. So again, you're just renting that, so you're not buying anything, you're just the one renting that out. And then you rent each bedroom out individually, and you could do that. So it's not gonna work for everybody, but there are ways to make this happen if you truly want that freedom. So there's a few different ways that you can budget to start to track your expenses so you can understand where you're at and you can get that goal of where you want to go. So there's a few different ways to do this. One of these is probably the easiest way, and that would be the cash envelope system. Now the cash envelope system is pretty much what it sounds like, where you're gonna have envelopes for different parts of your budget. So you might have $100 for going out to eat, like $500 for groceries, $200 for gas, and you'd have those all in envelopes for the month so that you plan out your spending for the whole month. There's also the very simple route where it would be when you come home, you have something like just on your kitchen table or on your countertop where you write down every time you get back exactly what you spent. So you're like, dude, I just spent 20 bucks on gas and 20 bucks on groceries. You write that down and then you just tally it up at the end of the day or at the end of the week, and you just keep track that way if that's something that you feel like you can do. Whatever is easier for you is really the best way to do this. Now instead of that, I do something called credit card hacking, and the whole idea of this is you get a card like the Chase Sapphire Preferred card, and that one you have a $4,000 minimum spend within the first 3 months, and then you get like a 50 or 60,000 point bonus. Depends on the card, depends on the time, they kind of fluctuate. So the idea here is you put all your food, all your like insurance, all your utility bills onto this card, all your normal expenses, and then you get that 50,000 points back, which might be worth $500, $600, depending on what you're doing. And you can either use that points for travel, or you could just get it back in cash. So that's how you can get, 20, 30% back on all your expenses all the time. And then once you hit that, you just move on to the next card. I can go more in detail on it another time. I think I did a video on it, but anyways, that is why I like to use credit cards instead. So what I did was use an app called Mint. So pretty much you put in your credit card into there, it's Mint by Intuit. You can just download it anywhere, and then it keeps track of everything for you. It tells you how much you spent at each different place. Maybe you spent too much on food or whatever. It just keeps track of all that for you, and it's right on your phone. So that's a pretty easy way to do it. It really depends on what is gonna work best for you and what you're gonna be able to stick to. And I kind of look at these as like training wheels, as just a starter to learn how to spend and learn how to change your mindset. I think that is far more important. So the way I budget right now is I do not budget right now. I make that choice every single day. I have that goal in mind that we talked about, and I have that always. So every time I look at making a purchase, I ask, am I willing to pay some of my freedom for this? Am I willing to work longer at a job that I don't like for this? You have to ask those questions all the time. And when it comes down to it, it's really not worth it for a lot of things, especially for the things that happen again and again and again and again and again. Like if you go out for lunch every single day at work, is that worth working an extra hour at that job, extra day, a week, extra, couple days a month for that instead of bringing something from home? So you have to make those decisions for yourself and choose, what's worth it, what's not. Like we just bought a car like an hour ago for my wife. It was like $3,500. It was a little bit older used Toyota Corolla because she needs something reliable for her job. And we either had the choice. We could either do that, and that's like really cheap for a car, and that's gonna last us 3 to 5 years, and then we'll probably sell it for $2,000 or $3,000. Will pretty much cost nothing for our car payment. Or we could go ahead and we could get something that is, a $10,000, $20,000 car and make that payment each month. But for us, it is not worth it to spend an extra $10,000 or $15,000 on just a car when all we need is go to point A to point B. So you have to make those decisions with everything, with your housing, with your car, with your food. Is it worth not focusing on this, not spending time on it, not learning how to optimize this? Because that's all it takes, is to learn how to optimize things. Once you learn about credit card hacking, about car hacking, about house hacking, then you never really have those expenses. And that's all it comes down to, right? It comes down to to learning about things that other people don't really focus on. Like, we spend all this time at work grinding day after day after day, but we don't understand how our money works and why it is all leaving us and why we have to continue to go to this job. You don't have to continue to go to this job. You can have opportunity to go somewhere else. If you can just control your finances, control your budget, and keep your spending down, then you don't have all this stress. You don't have to worry if you can pay your bills at the end of the month, because your bills are just not as high. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, please go ahead and like and subscribe if that's something you want to do. It's your life. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you want to do that, it'd be cool. Thank you.